Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala. I come to you from the Pacific Northwest where I live with my partner, our 2 kitties, and 2 adopted Mustangs. Information about the Wildhorse adoption program will be in the episode description box. This podcast covers knitting projects, my horsemanship journey, and my other passions like vegetable gardening and bicycling. If you're new here, I hope you find the content interesting. If you're a returning viewer, it's always great to have old friends. The format of this channel typically includes musings on an early walk to the barn to feed the horses, then knitting content, some catch up on the horsemanship journey, and finally more musings or maybe a little bicycling footage if I was lucky enough to get out. Enjoy, and I hope to see you soon. Good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode of my podcast. Thank you for being here. We're in the laundry room ready to go out and feed the horses on this Friday morning, December, it must be December 19th. It's about 7:30 in the morning. It's still dark out, although I think it's getting light enough to see. I'm going to put on my headlamp and take an extra lamp just in case. We've had some wild weather the last couple weeks. We had a tremendous amount of flooding. We personally have not been affected, but a lot of people had to evacuate. People who live in the river valleys, people who live in areas that haven't flooded ever had to evacuate. So there's just been a lot happening. Odin's vet appointment got canceled last week because of flooding. The vet clinic didn't flood, but their roads out to the clinic did. Pardon me while I put on some boots. And then we had a pretty significant windstorm earlier this week, and there are still lots of people without power. We somehow miraculously kept our power on, which is unusual. Usually our power, we have so many trees around here, usually our power is one of the first to go off. But that didn't happen this time, so very exciting. I don't know if you should be able to see now. It's kind of it's gotten a lot colder. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I don't think we're down to freezing level, but you know, when the temperature is up near 60, when it gets down into the 40s, it feels cold. So that's where we are at right now. Today is a pretty busy day. Gonna go get a haircut this morning. My trainer's gonna come and give me, Bragi, a trailer loading lesson, and then Odin goes to the vet this afternoon, provided that power is on and roads are clear and so on. So I'm tired today. I slept fine until the middle of the night when I woke up. It was around 1:30 a.m. I woke up with a upset tummy, and that lasted for about an hour. And then I went back to sleep, but I'm still kind of tired. So I have some knitting to share with you. No finished objects. Just continuation of projects I have been working on, and then one that was in hibernation that I picked up. The creek has gone back down to normal levels. I didn't bother showing you because I've seen when I've edited footage, it's clear that even though I can see it, there's just not enough light for the camera to pick it up. So apologize for all the shots in the dark. I think it's going to be a pretty day. So Bragi is going to revisit trailer loading. It had been a while. There is out there, if you can see him. I think Bragi's in a stall eating breakfast like a good boy. So he struggled a bit. We had kind of thought about maybe taking him and Odin for just a little ride around the block, but realized that it had been too long since Bragi had practiced getting in the trailer and he needed a memory refresher. So I'll see you in the knitting portion. Good morning, Bragi. And give you an update on Odin at another time. Hey friends, welcome to the knitting portion of my podcast. I just came in from outside, so I had this cap on. This is a cap that I made based on the concept of Isolde Teague's Musselburgh hat. I didn't follow the pattern. I'd just seen it enough times that I kind of knew what to do. So I just used a regular hat pattern that was like top down, and then basically knit it in reverse. So this is what it looks like. This is a Freckled Whimsey Advent yarn from last year, and then this burgundy color is a Barocco yarn that I've had in stash for a very long time. So really like wearing this hat. I wear it all the time when the weather calls for it. It's just perfect. And I am also wearing my Neigh sweater. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I knit it last year. I have my signature crochet extension collar on the ribbed collar. And then this was a Barocco, I think it was one of their alpaca blends, so I'm not sure. And this gray yarn, now I'm not remembering what the gray yarn was from, but the variegated yarn, the colorwork yarn, is Spin Cycle. So this will be in my show notes. I altered the pattern on the sleeves. It was this, the original pattern was kind of this cross shaped all the way down, and I decided I wanted to make it ponies. So I used a stitch dictionary and made the sleeves that way. So that was super fun. I can show you what I have on my needles. I'll show you the Talvinen, which is the colorwork sweater. I've been, oops, hopefully don't drop some scissors and make a lot of noise. Let me get a sip of coffee. I'm drinking decaf coffee. Decaf coffee has enough caffeine in it that it often wakes me up a bit. And on top of this, I have my Stephen West Exploration Station shawl that I knit a few years ago, and I often wear it in the morning when I'm knitting. So that was kind of a, not the smoothest transition, was it? But oh well, it's where I'm at today. So this is the Talvinen by Caitlin Hunter. She's, as you can tell, one of my favorite designers, colorwork designers. I'm starting to figure out her patterns so the sweaters fit me well. This is a fingering weight pattern, and these are Finnish soul birds. So there's short rows in the back. The main color is Nightshade. The pink color, the highlight color is, or accent color is Love Drunk. Those are by Emma's Yarns. She's a yarn dyer out of Florida. And then this contrast color in the birds, and you can see I've started the bottom section of color work is a yarn by Woolen Women. It is the Kentucky Derby colorway, so it was from their May box. So having fun with that. It's going pretty slow. I mean, I probably knit about 4 rows in the morning, so it's going to take a while, and then the sleeves, excuse me, are going to take a while as well. So, and that was in a bag that I crocheted. Oh, now I'm getting warm. I crocheted earlier this year, actually. It's a float tote. It's crocheted out of double-stranded cotton yarn. So it's very nice and sturdy, and it has yarn cups in, so it holds your yarn very nicely and organized when you're doing color work. And it's a pattern by Love in Stitches, or Nitty Natty. More coffee. And I am also working on, you have seen this bag before, made by my mom. This is a quilted bag, Christmas pattern. I mean, it's not a quilted bag. It's a simple drawstring bag. And this is holding my holiday sock. So I have I have a half finished object. So I finished one sock. This is Vanilla is the New Black. And this is the heel. I really like the heel. And the pattern works well for this particular yarn, which is a West Yorkshire spinner. So can you see that heel? So it's a ribbed heel that has increases, and then when you do the heel turn, then you decrease back down to your regular size. So I used a contrast color just for the cuff, and the rest of the sock is in the Hollyberry colorway, which is, that might be a 2022 colorway, I'm not sure. But I have quite a lot of yarn left. I haven't started the heel on the second sock. I'm still on the leg. I probably have, let's see here. Oh, I would say less than 10 rows before I start the heel. And then the heel and the gusset, and then probably about the same length for the foot as the leg. That seems to work out well for me. So that's going along. Hopefully I'll have it done by Christmas, but Christmas is next week. So I don't know if I'm going to have a podcast on next Friday, the day, well, which is Christmas, so I probably won't. But I might have a podcast on Saturday, so just FYI. And then this bag, also made by my mom. So there's a little bit of serendipity here. So this fabric my mom purchased in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. And this Hollyberry yarn I purchased in a small town when we were tootling around Door County, Wisconsin. So it's kind of neat to have those two projects. Maybe not in the, the yarn and the bag aren't together, but I am working on projects together. So this pattern was sock was in hibernation. I'm knitting the Purr-fect socks, which is on the cover of this book by Charlotte Stone. Joyful Colorwork socks. I knit on this mostly on weekends, like if I get tired of knitting on the projects that I have been working on. So I have done the heel turn, and I am ready. It's a short row heel, and I'm ready to start the kitties on the foot. So what's interesting about this pattern is that the kitties go all the way around the foot, whereas normally socks have just plain stockinette on the bottom of the foot. But that's okay. It'll make nice, cozy socks. So the yarn is a West Yorkshire spinner. The pink is that Harley got a hold of. So it's still working just fine. It just looks pretty messy. And then for the color work, I'm just using a variety of scraps. that are different, that have high contrast. So there is looks like a self-striping one in there that I think I did on, no, I don't think I did. I thought I used it on one of the kitties up on the top, but I did not. So I might do that on the foot, see how that looks. And use maybe this light colored yarn for the contrast. So I'm thinking, and it just takes such little yarn for these motifs, so that's what I'm thinking. Have kind of like a calico kitty type idea. So that is that project. This project is a little tricky because in some cases you're managing 3 strands of yarn, and I kind of figured it out. I saw a YouTube channel, and I don't remember which one it is, but basically you have 1 yarn on the left side, 1 yarn on the right, and that's if you knit 2-handed, which I do, and then 1 yarn in the middle, and I switch back and forth which hand I knit, the one in the middle. So capturing floats is a little bit tricky, but so far so good. So, and Charlotte Stone says that you don't need to capture floats for like 10 to 12 stitches. I don't like to let my floats go that long. So I tend to do it every like 4 or 5 stitches. So sometimes that does mean extra yarn management. I also have been frogging socks that haven't worked that well for me. So let me put my toys away, and I will show you what I have. So I knit a pair of socks earlier, and I think I used the Hermione's Everyday Socks pattern. And I ended up with socks that didn't match in length, which was very annoying. So I frogged them. And this is a colorway by Freckled Whimsey. So this is the remaining yarn from the sock, so I can make probably 2 pairs of socks out of this. These are the frogged socks. So I am planning on making a pattern from the Summer Lee book, the sock knitting project, or the sock project. Anne, one of my viewers, gave this to me, and I'm thinking of doing this surf wax socks. I'm not really sure when I am going to do that, but it's kind of got an interesting design that I think might lend itself well to self-striping yarn. So we'll see. There's just a ton of fun sock patterns in here. So with using different color combinations. So I'm really excited to dig into this book. So Anne gave this book to me after I injured my second shoulder in June. So I really appreciate the thoughtful gift. And then I am frogging, and I just cut out the toes. I haven't actually done the frogging. So this was a pair of long socks I made out of, this is an Advent by Freckled Whimsey. I'd never knit long socks before, but they didn't match. That one was a little bit smaller than the other somehow. I don't know whether I used 2 different needles. I always use Chalgu Red Lace size 0. And this is when I knit Magic Loop. When I'm using the little shorty needles, I'll use a size 1 sometimes. Anyway, I wore these socks on a bike ride last weekend because it was cold, and I thought these long socks would be great. Well, they would be great if they stayed up, but because I didn't do any calf shaping or didn't think of anything like that, they don't stay up, and they didn't match. So in order to make these more wearable, I washed them and am now going to frog them and make them into something else. A different pair of socks, perhaps. Or, who knows, maybe I'll make another hat. I do have the Isolde Teague Musselburgh hat pattern now, so I could be legit and use that pattern, although frankly it's pretty simple. So life stuff. Well, I'm sad to say that Dad is still in the hospital. He's really struggling with it, which is not surprising. I mean, I've been able to visit him. I haven't been able to visit him this week. I've had a really busy week, but I am going tomorrow. And he rallies sometimes, and then he needs to go back on oxygen, or some other medical procedure needs to happen. And so far it's been fairly non-invasive, so that's the good news. I don't really know what the next steps are. We kind of anticipated that he would be released discharged to a rehab center so he could keep working on his strength with physical therapists, but that didn't happen. He had a setback over the weekend and wasn't able to get discharged. So I know he really wants to go home. And who wouldn't? But right now he's in the best place. He's in the safest place. He's in the best place that he can be in. Although, honestly, sometimes that doesn't seem very kind. So it's a lot to think about. It's a lot to process. I have had a tremendous amount of support from work. I still have work that I need to get done, so there is that. And I did check into the office a little bit this morning just to make sure there was nothing outstanding that I needed to pay attention to. A lot of people are taking next week off. I will be working next week, but I am taking the following week off. I'm not sure what I'm going to do except just maybe not work. We had thought about going east over the mountains. Some of the passes are still closed, or at least, one of the passes is closed because they close it every year. That's the North Cascade Pass. It's a pass that's over 5,000 feet in elevation, and there's a ton of snow, and the road crews are not able to keep up with the avalanche danger up there. Highway 2 is currently closed because of all the rain and flooding that we have. There are several sections on the east side and the west side that are washed out. So it's going to be a while before those highways are open. Neither of those places, we don't need to go to either of those places. I-90 is still open, and we were thinking of going east over Interstate 90, but I don't feel right leaving town when Dad is in this situation, and I don't know what his possibility for discharge is at this stage. So, I may just stick around and try to spend some time with him. Other news, we had a hot water heater replaced the other day. So I've said in an earlier podcast that our appliances are marching towards death. We had a pressure tank for one of our wells replaced in August. We had to replace our range in September. Love the new range. It makes beautiful bread. I make bread slightly more than once a week. And we had the hot water tank replaced, and it looks like we may need to replace another hot water tank. We have 3 hot water tanks downstairs. 2 run our in-floor heating, and 1 is for our actual hot water. And the one that is for our actual hot water is the oldest one and the one that's leaking. So the plumber's gonna try to just replace the valve. Let's hope that works, because that would be 4 appliances in 1 year. That's a lot. On the other hand, we wouldn't have to worry about it for a while. So the stove, at the very least, both the stove and the pressure tank were probably at least 30 years old. So, probably time. We know that our refrigerator will have to be replaced at some time, just hopefully not for another year or two. And probably our dishwasher too. So that is all I have. I wish you all a very happy holiday season, whatever holidays you celebrate. We celebrate Christmas and New Year's here. I'd love to hear about other holidays that people celebrate. I'm aware that Hanukkah just started recently, and I wish you all a happy Hanukkah if that is the appropriate greeting. So take care, everyone. Be well. Hey, friends. We have some bonus outside footage because I didn't get a chance to upload the podcasts on Friday like I usually do. And I have some news about Odin's lameness exam. Oops, I need one more jacket. And I realized I forgot to open my Advent. And I have a new acquisition to share, or mailbag, or whatever it is you want to call it. So I got my Wool and Lemon box that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. So let's go outside, put on some boots. It's almost 8 a.m. I'm still taking headlamp and other lighting devices. Not so much because I can't see, but the sun is just now coming up and it can be still quite dark in the barn, and if I need to look closely at something. So, boots on. There we go. Still need to clean out the horse trailer from hauling Odin yesterday. We got home it was after the sunset and getting quite dark, so, and there aren't any lights over there, so I didn't feel like messing with it last night. Not a big deal. My floors are wood. They are not metal, which are really prone to corrosion. The roads aren't salted around here because it doesn't get cold enough. So I don't, and I haven't hauled either horse long enough to have them. Well, I haven't hauled Bragi at all, but I haven't hauled Odin long enough where he's needed to urinate. So that's another reason why I'm not terribly worried about it. Anyway, Odin. So the lameness exam showed up, indicated some thin soles, which was kind of surprising because Odin has very hard feet, but they're a little bit softer this time of year. And also a surprising amount of arthritis. He is 13 years old. He wasn't started too early. He was started when he was 6. So I can only think that there's probably some genetic predisposition to his arthritis. He also has the scar on his left haunch, so that could have caused imbalance throughout his life and the way he carries himself, and caused additional pressure on other limbs, which is showing up in arthritis in his pasterns, which is just above his hoof, and in his stifles, which is on his hind legs, kind of similar to a knee joint. Good morning, O. Assume Bragi must be in his stall since he's not in his pen. So what their next steps is, I'm going to put him on some bute for the next couple days. Bute is the equivalent of like horsey aspirin or anti-inflammatory like ibuprofen. Good morning, Bee. And then set up the camera and do a jog test with him, see how he goes, and see if that improves his evenness and his gaits in the round pen. And we are also going to try glue-on shoes for his front feet to help build some sole. So that is what we are up to. Hi, Bragi. Oh, yeah, you don't have much hay left, do you? Okay, I'm going to get to feeding, and then I'll catch up with you in the remainder of the knitting portion later. Hey, friends. Welcome to day 2 of this vlog. I'm wearing my Ghost Horses sweater today. I finished this, I don't know, about 6 weeks ago or so. And this is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. So scooching up my chair to get back in frame. And I needed to share just a few things with you about my knitting. One of them is the Woolen Women box, and one of them is the Advent. But I wanted to catch you up on the Wildwood Shawl, which is a knit-along for the Bakery Bear patrons that I ripped out because I didn't like the striping of the colors that I chose. So I am going to do a fade using several different blues and you can see that this blue is a warmer tone than this blue. This is actually kind of helping me. And then there's this little variegated piece, and then I have a darker blue that I don't know if I'm going to, oh yeah, I think I can do it. I think I can do it. So here we go. There we go. So I think what this tells me is that the order of go is going to be this, followed by this, followed by this, and I'm going to do a fade, followed by this, and then the dark blue. So that's how I'm going to do that, so it's not stripes. And I'm planning on only using, I'm not going to use this whole skein of undyed yarn. I'm just going to start it, maybe do the first 20 garter ridges and then start fading in this color and so on. So now that the knit along is complete, I think the full pattern is available to patrons. I think I can safely start it. The pattern is in DK weight, but I am using fingering because that is my preference for shawl weight. And it's the yarn that I have. Shall I show you the mailbag? The mailbag is the Woolen Women box, and let me share the bag. So this is a cool bag, and it has some special things sewn on, of which there are extras. It came with a candle, and it also came with a couple stitch markers. So Christmassy, there you go. It came with a candle that is a cinnamon, ginger, orange peeled. It's a soy wax candle. It smells pretty good. It smells festive. So this is if you get the full box. It also came with some of these extra little button thingies to sew on. So snowflake and snowman. And then there's a tree in there too that I don't want to crinkle too much. But how about the yarn? The yarn is beautiful. So this is why I keep getting these boxes. The bags are fun, very whimsical, kind of holiday-like. This is Cocoa with the Kringles. This is the colorway name. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. It is very festive. It would make a great Christmas sock. I would also wear this as a hat, I think. So we will see. It comes with a pattern. And with respect to the yarn dyer, it's probably a good idea to download the pattern because it is the Lights on Main sock. It's by Higgy Canyon Knits. And, you know, generally the sock pattern is going to highlight the colorway. So I could do that. I mean, I have plenty of hats. I have plenty of a lot of things, quite honestly. So it's not that I need these, but I guess I've been in a little bit of a want mode lately. And let's open the Legacy Fiber Arts Week 3. Mini sock set, which means that when I open the last one, it'll be the day after Christmas, which is fine. So here is the yarn. Isn't that pretty? This is called Breakfast Club, and I think that's a movie I never watched. I feel like I should watch it. It's a 1980s classic, but I just haven't. But very pretty. So I'm going to put that with the Woolen Women Holiday Sock, and then I just have the one more to open. There's been a lot on my mind, which I'm sure you can imagine. I'm going to visit Dad today in the at the rehab center. No one has been able to get a hold of him, so that's, I don't know, maybe he can't hear the phone or who knows what. So there's that. I also think I got scammed yesterday. I was very tired. I haven't been sleeping that well. I tend to wake up around 1:30 or 2 in the morning, and I can't go back to sleep till, I don't know, 3 or so. And then the alarm rings at 4. The alarm did not ring at 4 this morning because it's Saturday. So I slept in until after 6. So that was really nice. But the scam, it was just, you know, it's all those things that I should have known. And lots of red flags going on. Lots of alarm bells, I should say. All the things, like it's, you know, an out of the blue text or email with a sense of urgency from a number or an email address you don't recognize. And sometimes they can very cleverly disguise them. So, and it was about a charge on my account. So of course and it was my Apple account. And I generally trust Apple, but instead of going to a browser, which is a smart thing to do, go to a separate browser. Don't call the number in the message. Go to your browser and Google or whatever search engine you use, the support for that, you know, whatever it is for that account. So what I should have done is went to my browser, searched for Apple support, and then went from there. But no, I called the number, and I got wrapped up in this whole thing that took a really long time yesterday. I was very tired, which I'm sure it contributed to the misjudgments that I made. And finally, I just cut it out. I said, this is too much. I mean, I felt like we were getting into the deep, dark depths of my phone settings and things like that. And it was really uncomfortable. And I just decided that, you know, I'm not going to use my Apple Wallet for any payment things. So I took out the credit cards. I took out any payment information. I reset my phone to factory settings, which means you have to redo all your passwords. I think that's a good thing once in a while. And a lot of other inconveniences, I should say, that I was still sort of finding out about this morning as far as like things weren't the way they were yesterday. So that was also on my mind in the middle of the night, which of course I can't solve in the middle of the night. I can't solve Dad's issues. I can't solve Odin's issues. We're investigating. I mean, just to keep perspective, I think I said this morning, it's like Odin is like a 50-year-old person. I mean, he's middle-aged. He's 13 years old. And you know, we earn arthritis and other, what do you call them? And other consequences to compensations that we make throughout our lives because you know, none of us are born perfect, and some of us are born with one leg longer than the other, or, you know, maybe our spine's curved a little more in one direction, and there's always compensations. Well, eventually over time and throughout your life, you know, there's going to be consequences to those compensations. And that's the way I'm trying to look at it for Odin. He's very stoic. He doesn't admit when he's in pain, but there are behaviors, like he's not willing to do certain things. So I want to make him as comfortable as possible. I want to be fair to him. I want to understand what our future is going to be like, because Odin is my horse. And as much as I am committed to Bragi's future, I'm not completely convinced he's the horse for me, because he's a lot of horse. And Odin is just easier for someone at my riding skill, my stage in life, my confidence level, and all of those things that, you know, feed into what we want to do in our lives. So, I mean, maybe that's the biggest thing on my mind, because that's the newest thing that I found out yesterday afternoon around 4:30 p.m. So just stewing on that. The good news, I suppose, is that you know, the vet was extremely thorough, and I really appreciate her diligence in going through all the tests. And she even did some of the, I think she did a ultrasound that she didn't charge me for, mostly because she was just curious. So that was awesome. And, you know, I have a good team. I mean, she works a lot with my trainer. She works a lot with my farrier. So I have a team of horse professionals. And that's going to be really critical in our success, in my success with Odin and with Bragi's success, wherever, whether he stays with me, you know, whether I decide that once he's trailer trained and you know, then we can call it good, and then I can focus on Odin's fitness and health for the rest of his life. And Bragi can be a companion horse, which I don't think he minds. I don't think any horse minds that. I mean, it might be easier for horse's sake, to retire Odin and then focus on Bragi, but I don't want to do that. So I don't know where I'm at with that. But if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great week, and happy holidays, because I will likely see you after Christmas. Take care, everyone.